Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unpopular Review.
Thank you all for clicking on our faces.
New flag with all that.
Okay, so I wrote down some notes.
Let's do that. I don't want to sit too hard. That's twice. That'll probably go over about as well as Colonel Bibby.
Because there was no Jay White side.
Okay, just straight up gangbanging. This story has been fit. You gotta pay attention.
So Unpopular Review does not. What is she the CEO of, Chris? Jesus, golly. Let's start the show.
My big, fat Greek wedding. I don't know. I mean, are we running out of ideas? I don't know. You know, I figure I would call Audible, Omaha, if you will. And these guys would tell me, nah, we're not doing that. But leave it to Unpop Review Entertainment Thursday Night Crew. So we're not afraid to tackle any kind of a movie, including a movie that personally I never ever seen, never wanted to see, and I had to watch this shit. And I picked this shit, and that's even funnier. We're gonna talk about this shit right here, y'all. My big fat Greek wedding. We'll be right back.
No one in my family has ever gone out with a non-Greek before. Oh!
A respectful boy would come here and ask for my permission.
May I please date your daughter?
No!
Playtone and Gold Circle Films cordially invite you
It's a mosquito bite. It's a zit.
to the wedding of the year
She's ready!
and the romantic comedy of the season. My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
We may be lambs in the kitchen, but we are tigers in the bedroom.
Ew, please let that be the end of your speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, never forget what you're listening to and tuned into, because we are.
Tonight's broadcast has been commandeered by the secret society No Ma'am, National Organization of Men Against Amazonian Masterhood.
That sounded oddly familiar. I am your host, Mike Knox, this evening, joined by my other host, not co, also host, the executive consultant, Vic Damone Jr., and we are talking rom-coms is our theme this month. And you heard me say it. I thought, no way. I threw up wrestling movies out there. He said, no, all wrestling movies suck. I thought that would be funny because they did suck 30 years ago, but how bad would they suck today? I don't know. Just threw something out there. I threw out rom-coms. And y'all know me. I'm kind of a, I like The Notebook. I like rom-coms. It don't really bother me. I just thought they wouldn't pick one. So for once, I didn't pick a movie that I've ever seen before, never wanted to see. Widely known as one of the funniest rom-coms of all time. It goes up there like the Bridget Jones' Diaries of the world and My Best Friend's Wedding of the world and things of that nature, like really big movies. I think this movie doesn't get made and is not successful. We don't see Crazy Rich Asians. It was great to see a movie from a different culture about something we don't really know about or talk about. We see the Italian weddings, right? We see the Jewish weddings in movies and things at the time. Of course, we see in black comedy movies, we see black weddings, but we don't see other cultures coming together and the importance of the tradition and everything else. I thought this movie was very good. I see why it cost $5 million and it made $368 million. So everybody, this is about a Greek woman named Naya, Toula, and my man Gus. Just like, what's my man from Sex and the City? I always called him Hayden. He was in this movie, and he's pursuing the girl. She's Greek, she's like, listen, my family's crazy, it's big, it's all this stuff going on. I don't even supposed to be with you. You know what I mean? You're not Greek. I'm supposed to get married to Greeks, have Greek babies, and they have Greek babies. And, you say you got your man of family. I got 27 first cousins. Like, what are you talking about? This cannot work. And Hayden just gives it the old superficial, I came alive when I met you. So she falls for the okie doke, they get married, and he was wrong. He did not ask that man for permission, and when he asked permission, that man said no. But all this is hilarious to me. All this is funny because all this derives, if you did not know this, that I'm seeing right now, from Greek culture. So with that being said, I'm going to start with the executive consultant. Your thoughts on my big fat Greek wedding. 387 million.
Yeah. You know how much it should have made? 5 million.
How much it cost?
I want to ask Vic a question. Vic, have you seen this movie before?
Yeah.
Oh, you had saw this before, Vic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a short movie. I thought you would like it. You like short movies, like little.
You know
books.
what? That's why I'm not sitting
it.
here and I'm not going on a rant. But let me tell you, I stayed away from this movie. I didn't want to see this movie. I had no interest in seeing this movie. But you picked this movie, and I was intrigued. I didn't cringe. You know when I cringe, I call and I complain. I curse you out. I'm like, what the fuck you had me watching this movie for? Well, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. I'm glad I gave it a chance. There was a lot of scenes in that movie that I thought was actually pretty darn funny. That was the positive. Let's talk about the negative. There's a lot of scenes in this movie I did not find funny at all. Actually, let me just go ahead and put it out there. Pops was funny.
Of course, Gus was hilarious.
Mom's was not. She had one funny line.
It stuck sometimes.
Bride to be was not funny. Husband to be was not funny. Nothing about this movie was funny if it wasn't Pops. There was a great movie I saw shortly after this movie came out. They hate it. I love it. You love it. It's called Date Movie.
This was in there.
I saw it and I was like, oh, he's spraying Windex. I remember that from Date Movie. He keeps talking about his Greek culture. I remember that from Date Movie, and I laughed because Date Movie is one of the greatest comedies I've ever seen in my life.
Side note, you know what I always say about movies like spoof movies, like Date Movie? If you haven't watched like the originals of those movies they're spoofing, you can find it way more funnier if you've seen those films.
Of course.
You know.
Then you see where it's from.
Vampire
Sucks. About Mafia
is hilarious.
That's how I thought about Mafia and The Godfather.
Watch Vampire Sucks.
But Date Movie, which was loosely based off of this movie. Date Movie was funnier. Go ahead, Vic.
Date Movie was funnier.
Well, you know, I saw this movie around the time that it came out, probably on a date or something, because it was just one of those things where all the girls wanted to see it. And I found it funny because I know Greek people. I dealt with a Greek group, a Greek Orthodox group, when I was a camp counselor like 20 years ago. I lived close to Astoria, Queens. Baklava is a regular thing. So there's a lot of things where it was just hilarious because I've been around Greek flags for a long time. So now the one thing after watching it again this time, there's a lot that I realized here. So now from the very beginning, she's trying to get the approval of these little blondies.
Mm-hmm.
And so because she's trying to get the approval of these little blondies, she's ashamed of her family. And that speaks to the immigrant experience, because throughout this entire movie, she's just trying to run away from what she is, who she is, her entire culture, to seem like something else, like something that she's not, like somebody who only has 2 cousins in Wisconsin. You want to be like them? Then at the end of the movie, all of a sudden, you want to love your family because they come so full of rich culture that attracted the guy that you got. But your entire life, you want to sit here and be all anti-Greek and all of this other bullshit because you're ashamed of your family, because you want to sit at the lunch table with the goddamn blondies.
Oh, my God.
And that is the experience of the immigrant, of the person that comes here, first generation American, that wants to be in this country and wants to motherfucking assimilate to everybody else because we need everybody else's goddamn approval. That is what this movie surely represents, because look what happens at the end. Look what Gus is afraid of. He's literally afraid of his daughter losing her culture. And that's exactly what happens. Look what happens to him. That guy has no connection to absolutely nothing. He's open to everything. He's willing to jump through so many goddamn hoops to get this lady. And look, he says this to his best friend. His only friend, the guy that he works with, that it ends up being his best man. Exactly. This guy is attracted to this girl because she's full of life and he isn't. And all he is to her is just a representation of what those blondies had. Period.
Can I ask you a question real fast?
Yeah.
Who broke up with you over this movie?
Say what?
You say you were, dating. You went on a date, probably go see this movie back in 2002. I'm saying
no, that's not that. No, that's not what it is. It's just that look. One thing that happens when you're a first generation American is just that you do, because your parents can't teach you the culture of this place. You do everything in your power to try to assimilate.
I just
right?
didn't.
But the shit is
none of that in that movie.
Of course not, because that's not something you've experienced.
That's not. Hold on, that's unfair.
That's not something. That, of course not. That's not something. That's not something you experienced. You're not
unfair.
You're not on a
That's
foreign
unfair.
land.
That's unfair.
You're not on a foreign land.
That's unfair to
You're
say.
not. You don't have to
Just
learn a different language. You don't have to learn. You don't have to be assimilated. First of all, you're not getting people telling you that you just niggas that fucking got dropped off.
Whoa. Huh?
That's not what happens to you. And
No,
people say that to us. People been saying that to us for years.
Who told her that in the movie though, Vic?
I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying
We're
my
talking about
experience.
the movie though. Big Mike,
Yes,
Big Fat Greek
because
Wedding.
look, all right, so I'll bring it to the movie. You see how she got called, like they made fun of her name and associated it to shit. The little blondie. I'm talking about
when she was like in elementary school.
Yes, and she stuck with that for life, man. She didn't want to deal with any other Greek guys that were around her. She didn't want anything to do with whole
When
culture.
did they show anything like that though?
All of that, her behavior.
What behavior?
Her
father
entire
kept telling her
behavior.
She was a kid. That
Her
she was
entire-
old. At 15 years old, her father kept telling her how ugly she was and that she wasn't smart
Her
enough.
father was telling her that she was
understand where you're
old.
getting this
She
from.
was getting old, right? He was telling her that she was getting old, but what did he want for her?
He told her she was
wanted
old
her.
at 15.
Yes, he did. You know why? Because he had that old world thinking. He had that thinking like if he was still in Greece. So now
Right,
the
I
good
get
part
that.
about this movie is just that this was basically just showing her liberation. But my issue with this whole thing is just that she was seeking approval from the wrong people, and then at the end, all of a sudden, wants to love her family. Because all of a sudden, her family is the one that gives her
That's a
strength.
different take.
You know what I mean? But my whole thing is this is just that from the very beginning of this movie, that whole interaction with those blondies, right? And then mind you, when she got the contacts, what's the first thing that she did when she put on those motherfucking contacts? She found a table to sit in and was so motherfucking happy to pull out a sandwich. Our fucking table full of blondies. You know what I mean? That's exactly what she did.
They were blonde. They were brunette. I saw redhead in there.
No, but what did
I saw one token.
What did they represent? What they represented there was
They
just her being accepted by
what was
them.
normal to America.
No, exactly. That's the thing.
But I don't
That's
think
the
that
thing.
in
You
any
sitting
form
here-
or fashion. I thought personally, Vic. I'm sorry. Listen, I thought that she tried to fit in. Yes, I give you that 100%. That's right before
That's
your
my
very eyes.
point.
Okay,
That's
right,
my
but hold
point.
on.
That's
But
the
everything
main
else
point.
is-
It's
but
just
everything
that,
else,
like,
let me just say this to you, right? Everything else, right? They never once in this film. We can't go more than what they show us and what's written for the film, right? Never in this film did they ever show that she was not about family. It showed that she was like a wild, what they call it, a wildflower. She didn't get along. She was awkward, socially awkward, all that kind of stuff. She sees a boy in a restaurant. She goes and tells him a corny joke that even she thought was corny, that he snickered and laughed at. And a girl who never had nobody crushing on her had a crush. And then from there, they bump each other again as he walks through the window. I don't see anywhere in the film, including when she says, other than the fact how big my family is, how I cannot mess with you because you're not my family, which I have no problem with, by the way, in certain cultures. Love who you love, and that's what ultimately this movie came to. But I also understand people want to keep it in their culture, within their family. That's still in the majority of this country outside of America. Okay, so I get all of that too, but in this film,
I completely agree with you, Vic. You are absolutely right. She was not trying to have it. She was embarrassed. She didn't know what to do. I completely agree with you, Vic. You know what?
Because she's trying to curry favor. She's trying to curry favor to the blondie.
That's right.
You know what I mean? To the blondie and the blonde world and the blondes and the blonde style.
Blondies. The blondies.
They had vodka and gyros. There's nothing else. Listen, because for once, Vic, when it gets out there, this film was filmed in Chicago, where a lot of Greek people are from as well, by the way. And I myself grew up in Chicago, where I know Greek people myself around the Greek flag as well, sir. So to say, I don't know.
Did you deal with blondies, though?
I don't know, because guess what? I don't know. I didn't go to school with Greeks. I don't know. You know what I mean?
But look, here's the thing. You notice how Gus is always like, give me a word, and I'll tell you how the root of that word is Greek. You understand? But here's my thing. Here's my thing. Somebody like Gus will tell you all of that, and it's be Greek. Find anybody American who knows where motherfucking Federal Hall is.
Well, that's what I thought.
And everybody American who knows where the fuck George Washington was inaugurated. No, everybody comes to this motherfucker to go to the goddamn stock exchange. That's my point here.
Now you're saying because you're
American culture is all about.
Now you're saying because you're American, you don't know where nothing happened in your country because other people from this country came and cared more.
That's not my point here. Because I mean, look, you can go to Greece and everybody can put you to the Parthenon.
George Washington was assassinated today. That's what you said.
You can go to Greece and everybody can put you into the Parthenon. That's my point. The thing here is just that Americans don't give a shit about each other. That's why her husband only has two fucking cousins in Wisconsin that he never fucking sees.
This movie does so much, apparently. My Big Fat Greek Wedding from 2 decades ago, ladies and gentlemen. But we have a lot more rom-coms to go. A lot more. We still have, this is Mike's pick. We still have Vic's pick. I can't wait till next week. And we still have my pick, along with some other things. Find out what we're reviewing. Stay with us. You are watching Unpopular Review.
When I first saw you, I thought that we should have sex in the coat closet.
Yeah? Wait, hold on. I am kind of in a weird place.
Yeah, you're in a beach club coat closet.
You know, we could just talk for a minute. I've had too many girlfriends over the past couple years. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Tell me.
What?
I'll give you some of this pie if you tell me more about your past.
It's like I don't come with my own complications.
I'm a mess, and I don't have any answers. But maybe you and I could figure it out together. I'm happy to tell you a few more embarrassing stories about my love life.
Well, I promise not to laugh.
Really?
I promise not to laugh much.
Welcome back, everybody, to Unpop Review Entertainment. We are here, we are live, and we are talking My Big Fat Greek Wedding and all the possibilities of you not being from America and having no culture. Okay, you cultureless vultures, you. You want to get mad at them culturing and taking your stuff, over-appreciating and all the other kind of stuff. Listen, let's talk about this movie. It made a lot of money. My man Gus, final thoughts. I'm going to start with you, Vic Damone Jr. You had a lot to say, so now I'm curious about where do you rate this movie? So, Vic Damone, final thoughts, favorite parts, any quotes, all that good shit.
Man.
Let it spin.
Yo, see, now, my whole main thing is just, I think this movie is great because it really speaks to, number one, like what happens here when you come from someplace else. You have the opportunity to do all kinds of things. But the unfortunate part is just that there is such a culture of avoiding taxation that people just stop giving a shit about each other. And that is something that the Chinese, the Koreans, Dominicans, all of these people that are from different countries that come here, they fight real hard to keep their culture. The Greeks are some of the only white people that are in this country that consistently go back to Greece to make sure that the kids keep the culture. The Dominicans are really fucking lucky because it's a 3-hour plane ride from New York. You know what I mean? From Miami, maybe an hour. We're lucky to have that because we can consistently go back and forth and make sure that the culture is still there, because the reality of this place is just that everybody's about self and everybody is just doing best for them. Because the one thing that's true is that when everybody is the same, shit gets even more fucking petty out. And the one thing I've definitely noticed, especially in this movie, is how much white people don't care about each other. Game of Thrones is a real fucking thing. Okay. Therefore, I love this movie. It's hilarious. It is freaking hilarious. You know, the food, the baklava, the hairy Greek women, the pimples, the curly hair, the whole thing. It's freaking hilarious. My wife loves this movie. I've seen all three of them, and to be honest with you, the other two were a reach. They really were. They were trying to, you know what I mean? No, it didn't hit, especially the third one. Come on. And mind you, I saw that on my way to Greece. I should have pictures of myself here from when I went to Greece. Why didn't I do that? I should have done that. But anyway, I love this movie. It really is. But at the same time, it is a great representation of what happens in this place and why you should do everything in your power to keep your culture. Wait, why don't I hear you?
Thumbs up for Victor Moan Jr. Executive consultant. Your final thoughts, any final words, favorite quotes? Spin that shit.
I don't have any quotes, right? But let me tell you something. I want to start off by saying this. My Big Fat Greek Wedding is a 2002 romantic comedy film about a Greek American woman who falls in love with a non-Greek man and struggles to get her family to accept him. Now, why did I say that? Because when I watched this movie, I saw a Greek woman who was involved with a Greek family trying to get involved with a white man, and it had him accepted into the family who usually does not accept what we'll say are outsiders. But most of the family were welcoming. It was her father who turns around. And him getting used to the other culture of the Greek people, and he was welcoming to do it. And I saw that movie, and I'm like, it's getting a thumbs down for me. Then I went on and I became on air with my two hosts here. And I listened to Mike's take. This guy over here. I listened to Mike's take. And I heard Vic's take. And I realized there was so much more to this movie, right? Let me tell you a story. Yeah, I'm going to tell you a story. When Tuesdays first started happening, actually, when UPRU first was created, it was myself, it was C, it was Vic and James. And we used to always take like 5 minutes. You know, sometimes Vic might go a little long, but not too long. And then we get to James. And James would take 30 minutes because he deep dived into a movie. You see where I'm going? Deep dive into a movie. What did Vic do? He deep dived into that movie. Well, I thought we were talking about Greeks and Americans. We started talking about blondies. 14,000 F-bombs. This was the most rated R episode I've ever heard in my life. Chinese people were brought up, Dominicans. He somehow resonated to them. He felt oppressed. I'm like, fight the power, man. I felt inspired by Vic tonight. Thank you, Vic.
Oh, you're
welcome. I had no idea because I'm just an American. I was born here, so I don't know about that. I didn't know anything about that. But this movie is shout out. They should get an Oscar because this director, the way he was able to throw all of that into what he thought was a romantic comedy. He thought it was a rom-com. Let me tell you, Mike Knox, you picked the wrong movie. This wasn't a rom-com, right? This was not it. This was a history lesson. And I appreciate the history I learned. But was I entertained by this movie? Let's find out. I said I was lazy editing this week. I didn't do that shit either. So I'm going to come back.
So what was it, though?
It is still a thumbs down for me. Yes, there were some funny parts of it, but it was not that entertaining to me. What was entertaining was listening to, hey, you know what? When I said I agreed, I actually did agree with everything Big said. I wasn't doing that to be jokey, but it still was very entertaining of the way he said. I felt like I was in church. I felt like he was talking to me. I felt like he was talking to me. Thumbs down.
First time watching it, never wanted to see it, ran away from it. I'm known to watch chick flicks. My wife didn't kind of want to watch this one either. Don't know why, just never stuck. That's actually the year before I got married, this movie came out. So at that point, I know I'm watching every kind of movie there is to go, you know, those kind of films. But never wanted to watch it, never caught my attention. So, but I know it's widely funny, and I say this much. I'm with you, Vic. I laughed. I'm sorry. I thought this movie was hilarious, as you would say. I understand these cultures. I know how it is. I don't have to be in the culture to know and understand what they are trying to represent and what she was running away from. And I thought it was very funny and something you said, this white man would do anything. That man got baptized in a kiddie pool in a church. The parents were at the wedding and said,
Does anybody know where he's from?
Who?
Does anybody know his background?
Ian Miller?
His nationality? No, what he got to do, he got to get his motherfucking DNA checked. Fuck out of here. That's what he got to do to find out who he is. Fuck out of here. Shoe fly with that. Those are the facts.
This movie was hilarious. Okay, I did like the evolution of growing of Pops. You know, but I do think Pops had it right. Like, hey, you did this, you didn't even come talk to me. You know what I mean? I thought it was funny. You said the mom didn't have no funny scenes when they went and talked him into his idea that was their idea. They her to go finally get a job and go to school. This movie to me was exactly a coming of age story. And I said it earlier, and I'm gonna say it again. I put it up there with, and which is one of my favorite of all time, is Crazy Rich Asians. I watch it anytime I'm bored. I just throw it on. I think it's hilarious. I think this movie gets a rewatch for me because I laughed. I enjoyed it that much. And then the ending of this movie is something a father like myself would wish I can do. That's what it's supposed to be. I have these kind of high standards as well. And I said it before on air. I'll say it off air now, on air, however you want to put it. But when that man finally asked me for my daughter's hand in marriage, in that moment of all this anger and how to make this funny joke and to scare this kid, I really sat there and said in my head, like, she gonna marry this motherfucker anyway. So I just gotta tell him how I feel about them getting married. And so, you know what I mean? You didn't have to ask me, because that's what happens when someone asks to marry your child. It is your responsibility to pay for the wedding, to get the house. That's what that is all about. It's not just asking for permission because you're the man house. It comes with responsibility. And as a responsibility, I'm giving you my child, and for that, I give you this gift of a wedding. I give you this gift of a house. So in that part, when they gave them the house, they didn't even know it was right next door to them.
I mean, but listen, man, logistically, dude came out winning. You got no mortgage. You got no mortgage, and you got no child care cost. I'm saying, because it's right there. It's right there. Like, yo, what? Well, listen, you got 27 cousins. He came out winning.
60% African American and 40% Cherokee Indian, and that is proof. My grandmother's mother was 100% Indian. Okay, so I know my roots. I know where I come from. Family last name is Birdsong. Okay, so there go that. My big fat Greek wedding for me gets a fucking thumbs up. I'm sorry. I thought this thing was, like you say, big, hilarious. I did. I sat here to the point where my wife was getting mad. She thought I wasn't paying attention to the movie. I'm like, I'm watching the movie. You know what I mean? Any movie that can make me laugh, and I love family, right? I love tradition of family. It's important to me in my life. And you've been around me, Chris, in my house. You know, I take those things very serious. The birthdays, the Christmases, the Thanksgivings. We do what I was raised at doing. That will never leave me, and I hope it never leaves my children. That's why I implemented in them so very much. And this movie demonstrated all that. What do you say? If you saw The Christmas Story, A+. This movie gets thumbs up. I know why I made so much money. But thank you, Vic, for warning me not to watch the second and the third one, though, because I hate it's like my man, President Barack Obama said. He said, you already know the sequel. We already know how that one turned out, and they typically ain't better than the original. So go out there and vote, people. Listen, we're going to get up out of here, y'all. My big fat Greek wedding, and you've heard it right here on your Thursday crew. I mean, it don't get nobody that 3 men of color talking about my big fat Greek wedding. See y'all next time, y'all. Peace.
Tonight's broadcast has been commandeered by the secret society No Ma'am, National Organization of Men Against Amazonian Masterhood.
No one in my family has ever gone out with a non-Greek before. Oh!
A respectful boy would come here and ask for my permission.
May I please date your daughter?
No!